Right then guys, how's it going and welcome back to a new video. So, the new Premier League season starts on Saturday, which means we do not have very long to finalise our fantasy football teams. I do have my team here. I was happy with it last night. I'm not sure I am anymore. I think I've actually found it the toughest this season to get to a point where I'm actually happy with the team that I've created. So, this is my team. Remember, if you haven't joined my fantasy league, then be sure to do so. This is the code here, and I will also put it down in the description as well. So be sure to jump in. I think we've got a few thousand people in the league already. So if you haven't joined, be sure to do so. As I say, I have found it tough this year. I think the fact that some teams aren't starting, like Man U, like Man City, I feel like there's less picks than normal to go for. I've actually spent some money on my defenders for a change, which I normally never do. I have a very cheap defence and then flood the attack with expensive players, so that's been something I've not been used to. But I will go through my team. I'll explain some of my picks. Like, I've got Fernandes in there. I'll explain why he's in there at the moment, and maybe I'll give a few tips, or at least show you how not to do a fantasy team. Let me know down below what you think of my team. Is there someone in there you like? Is there someone in there you don't like? Or even just let me know what you think you're going to do with your team. Are there any players that you think are going to do well this season? Alright, let's have a run through this team. Started off nice and easy. We have got McCarthy in goal, 4.5 million goalkeeper from Southampton. Southampton have got a decent string of fixtures to start the season, so I'm happy with him. He's been in there since my first draft, and he's still in there now. Alexander-Arnold has been in there since my first draft, and he's still in there now. 7.5 million. It is expensive for a defender, but price to points ratio, if you can do as well as you did last season, it's probably underpriced, to be honest. He's probably going to gain value if he starts off by scoring goals and getting a clean sheet. And then I've also gone for Doherty. He wasn't in my original draft, but I've decided I am going to go for him. I think the fact that he's gone to Spurs, who have a decent run of fixtures to start the season, hopefully Mourinho is going to tighten up that defence and maybe he'll get a few clean sheets. And also, he's a very attacking fullback, and now he's crossing the ball into players like Harry Kane. So, yeah, I'm happy with that. And to be honest, the plan at the moment is to just have them two in, week out for the whole season. Providing there isn't injuries or it all goes horribly wrong. I'm hoping I won't even have to think about them two. They'll just be in, week out. Now, the rest of my defence is where it gets a little bit more fun, as you might have noticed. I have got Mitchell in there from Crystal Palace, 4 million defender. Got Johnson down on the bench here from West Ham, 4 million defender. And I've also got Douglas on the bench from Leeds, 4 million defender. So I have spent money on two, and I've spent the least on the other three. Mitchell has played in every pre-season game so far, and he's expected to start the season for them. Now, I understand that the reason he's playing is because Crystal Palace have had a few injury issues, but who's to say that Mitchell doesn't play fantastic against Southampton and keeps his place and plays all season? You know, you never know, it might happen. It may well not happen, and if it doesn't, Crystal Palace have got another defender called Ferguson, who is injured at the moment, but when it looks like he's on his return, I can make the swap. And people are actually putting Ferguson in their teams now, injured, just so that they've got him at 4 million for when he does make his return. So there's an option there. I don't think Johnson will start for West Ham. I actually think there's a good chance that Douglas will start for Leeds. So yes, it looks like it's a bit of a gamble with the £4 million defenders, but I also have another plan as well that I'll explain when we get into the midfielders. Right then, so to start the midfield, I have Salah. Again, he was in my first draft. He's still in it now. Another player that I plan to have in all season long, providing he keeps scoring goals, doing what he does for Liverpool, basically, doing what he did last season. People have spoken about, shall I have Salah, shall I not? Is Mane a better option? I mean, you just don't know until the season starts. And if Mane turns out to be the option, then I'll swap him. You know, let's not worry about it too much. But Salah is in there to start for me. I also have Aubameyang, who is 12 million from Arsenal. Now, Arsenal have 2 good games to start. They've got Fulham and then West Ham. And then after that, it gets a bit tougher, playing against Liverpool, Sheffield United, Man City, Leicester, Man U. So 2 decent games to start, followed by 5 pretty tough fixtures. So my plan at the moment is to actually have Aubameyang for the first 2 games, and then swap him out after game week 2 and put in Sterling or De Bruyne. Now, they both cost 11.5 million, so I'll actually be generating $500,000 from making that change, at which point I can use that $500,000 to put into one of my £4 million defenders, maybe Taylor from Burnley, or just a 4.5 million player who is going to start, and that kind of helps with the defensive stuff as well. I've got Fernandes in there. He is not going to be in my starting 11 for the first game week, but I do want Fernandes in my team for the season. And I needed to make sure that I still had the money left over after making my other changes. So for when things start on Saturday, I will take Fernandes out and put in Son, possibly, or maybe someone else. And then after game week 1 finishes, ready for game week 2, I'm going to take Son out and put Fernandes in, ready for game week 2. So I've kind of already planned my first 2 transfers before the season's even started, which may not be the best of thing because you don't know what is going to happen and you might want to use your transfers somewhere else. But that is the kind of road that I've gone down. And then to finish it off, I've got Souček from West Ham, who is probably my least favourite player on the pitch. But he was I needed a 5 million defender. I needed a 5 million midfielder, and that's who I went for. I think he is a decent player, and I think he will bring in some points. But if I could have had someone a little bit better, I would have. And there is the option, to be honest, that I could just take Souček out and upgrade a defender instead, and have 4 at the back, 4-3-3 rather than 3-4-3. Let me know what you think of that. What do you think Souček's going to do it, or should I just move him out now? There just really isn't many 5 million options. But to be honest, I could start him against Newcastle and see what happens. West Ham don't sound like they've had a great pre-season, and no one around West Ham sounds overly happy at the minute. So I am wondering really if that is the best choice. I'm going to have to decide on that one before Saturday. Or even after game week 2, as I mentioned, when I move Aubameyang out, rather than putting the 0.5 million into my defenders, I could put it into Souček and swap it in for a 5.5 like Moutinho from Wolves or St. Max from Newcastle. So again, there is room for manoeuvre. And to finish off with the strikers, I've got Werner in from Chelsea, 9.5 million. He could well be undervalued for all we know. You know, Chelsea have got an amazing attack inside going into the start of this season, and Werner is going to be the one who sticks the ball in the net, hopefully. So I've got him in there. I've also got Mitrovic in. I've had him in since my first draft. He's only 6 million. Fulham have got a decent string of fixtures to start the season, and again, he is going to play up front all season for them. So if anyone's going to get goals, and if you think Fulham are going to do alright, then he's the man. I think just of these £6 million strikers, he's the best option, so a lot of people have gone for him. And I have as well. And then to finish it off, and I don't normally like to put Newcastle players in because I'm just jinxing the whole thing, but I have put Wilson in there. For starters, he's playing against West Ham first game, and he's scored 7 goals in 8 games against West Ham, so hopefully he's going to make it 10 in 9 games against West Ham. Hopefully he's going to get a few in that first game. And you know, if we're looking at the reasons I put in Mitrovic, he was a cheap striker who's going to play every game, and if they're going to score, it's going to be through him. I think it applies to Wilson for Newcastle as well. You know, we've just brought in Fraser. Newcastle have just brought in Fraser, St. Max, Almiron. You know, there are a lot of creative players there who are hopefully going to put the ball on a plate for Wilson, and he can rack up a decent amount of goals. And he is unrivaled as the number 1 striker at Newcastle. So if I'm using that reasoning to put Mitro in, then it's the same reasoning for Wilson as well. So again, I don't like putting Newcastle players in because I'm hopefully not jinxing it, but yeah, I've gone for it. So as I say, that is my team. I can't tell if my reasoning is correct or if I'm making those reasons to tell myself that I'm correct. I'm not sure, but it's all in good fun. I do like doing Fantasy League, and I do plan to do videos weekly to begin with, and then maybe every so often as the season goes on. So yeah, as I say, if you haven't joined the league, be sure to do so. It's always great fun because no one actually knows what's going to happen, and to be honest, in 2-3 weeks, maybe everyone's team's changed again. You know, once Pulisic comes back from injury, is everyone going to want him in? How's everyone going to start shoehorning these Man City players in when they come back for game week 2? You know, it's going to be interesting. Alright, so as I say, drop a like on the video if you haven't joined, subscribe if you want to be kept up to date with the Fantasy League that you're all joining, hopefully. Who's winning after game week 1. I do plan to do a video next week and kind of go over how the first week went. So yeah, subscribe if you're new. As I say, thanks for watching. Let me know what you're doing with your team down in the description below, and I'll catch you later.